So this is in response to Kurt's video on mind control, and this is a I've written a chapter in my book sort of relating to this, and the focus was essentially on MK Ultra, but I will look at it just from one angle, and that's essentially the idea that, if you torture somebody to near death, and then you insert mind control on them, especially through hypnosis and so forth, their moral constructs can essentially be bypassed. Or that seems to be what the research shows, so that if you, say, hypnotize the average person, you've probably seen videos of people that have been hypnotized. They do very strange things, but they usually will not go against their moral intuitions, the kind of moral boundaries that they set. They won't go kill somebody. They probably won't go even hurt somebody. However, if you torture somebody to near death, and then you insert the programming, the code, the hypnosis, at that point it seems to be the case that most people will go out and do moral atrocities, and or they will die. They themselves will either allow themselves to die at that point, or they will go and do those morally atrocious things. So this says something about the human psyche and its makeup. I think it fits in it well with my other theorizing, in the sense that I believe that there's a process of, reason, and then beneath that emotions, and then beneath that impulsivity. So what they're doing is they're deconstructing the reason, deconstructing the emotions, which the emotions allow for care and empathy, and then going right back to impulsivity, which is fight or flight. At that point, the fight or flight's kicking in. I have to respond. I have to fight for my life, and the fighting is actually agreeing to these morally atrocious. I will do it. Okay, I'll do it. I'll kill this person. And so at that point, you're just in your very primitive brain, your most primitive brain. What you were saying about how you insert code, how they can inject false reason into a conceptual schema, I think is very apt and pointed and good. See, like in typical philosophical debate, right? You have multiple premises and then the conclusion. And when you're doing good philosophy, you're going to analyze each premise. Is it correct on its own right? And then you have your conclusion. But, typically we don't have the time to do that. And then even if you are trained in philosophy, then it's there's still obviously value systems that are correlative with your premise belief. So even with a well-trained philosopher, you can still brainwash them, so long as you have a well-constructed philosophical system that is coherent within its own boundaries. To me, the biggest brainwashing tool within philosophy is the dichotomization of freedom and determinism. And this actually gets to the heart of many of the problems on the planet, in my opinion. So much of what we think about arises from this one philosophical quandary. Is everything determined, or is there freedom in there? That's the heart of it's the biggest koan almost that there is. Because if there's freedom, if you have choice, if there is a you to have choice, then there is an inherent morality that is part of a subject. In other words, if everything's determined, then the only morality is the imposition of morality on frisky dirt. You are imposing a moral structure onto something that is purely deterministic, and the you that is you is just a construct within the arising of determinist factors. So there is no real choice in that. There is no real, I'm really going to do something of free will for the betterment of, say, humans, the betterment of sentient beings. It's just a causal consequence of all the universe. And so, in so doing, I still think that there's great moral people out there that are deterministic. But it certainly takes some of the charge off if you don't believe that you can choose it. The difficulty with proving either one is that I kind of personally think it's a false dichotomy, and so this is where philosophy can easily get you into trouble by being overly smart and dichotomizing these things. You're cutting up reality into a false picture, and that's a sort of brainwashing on yourself that smart people can do. And I think probably is the case that a lot of the smart people imposing these brainwashing systems are caught up in that very problem. They've dichotomized the world in certain ways that themselves have brainwashed them. And so they can do these immorally atrocious things, probably in the belief that all things are just frisky dirt, that there's no real ultimate consequence to their actions in that sense. And so, if nothing matters, then no worries in that sense. There's a lot of... maybe I'll just leave it there. Be well.